Hi, I'm Samuel Prather, founder of Go Music. I wanted to just take a second today to teach you how to make your own samples using Reason 10. If you're a pop music or hip hop producer, you probably use samples all the time in your production. But if you do that, then you know that they're problematic. Yes, they're awesome. Yes, it's always cool to take something old and kind of put a new shine on it. But from a legal standpoint, there's a huge problem because you don't own that music. There's a couple other things that make using samples problematic. One is that they're rigid. So if you get a good sample, it's great until you want to change something. So if you have a drum loop, but then you want to fill, then you're kind of screwed. Same thing if you want to just take the hi-hat out. You can be creative and find other places in the record to pull from maybe, but that's if you're really lucky. So a lot of times you're just kind of stuck with it. And so as a producer, it's like, how do I get that feeling that I get when I use a sample without using music that I don't own? And so this is something that I want to teach you how to do in Reason today, especially focusing on the new devices that came in the latest update of Propellerhead Reason. Okay, obviously, the best way to create a sample would be to just play something yourself. If you play guitar, or you play bass, or you play drums, you can make your own samples and use it in Reason. I'm not going to talk about that today. What I'm going to talk about is a way to just start from scratch with nothing. You're on your laptop in a hotel somewhere. You don't have a way to plug in. You don't have a record collection to pull from. You just want to make a sample to spark something, to start a beat. Well, I have just the thing for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of these new Reason instruments. Let's go with a clang. I love clang. It's dope. No bells? Okay. One of the cool things about Reason drum kits is it came with a whole bunch of little MIDI loops. I'm just gonna go in there and drag one. Oh, whoops, I have to click off of it so I can see them. And just drag one into the timeline. Woo! I didn't even have to really do anything. That actually kind of lends itself to a beat right there. Okay, let's have some fun with this. There's a lot of things that we can do to it. Let's go ahead and take some effects. Let's try... Let's try synchronous. See what that does. Man, I like that. And then also what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the automatic retro transformer. Now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go up here. Because most of the time we treat samples in the mix, even though they're important, we want them to be behind the lead vocal, behind the kick drum, behind the snare usually, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit off the top end. And now, the vocals can sit on everything above 4K. And the kick drum can have everything below 220. Let's go ahead and add on a Reason drum kit and let's put a pattern in. going to do the same thing because I want to treat this like a sample. And just for giggles, I'm going to take a redrum and just put 4 on the floor. Let's make this some kind of house track or something, right? Now here's another really cool thing that you can do. So all this, I swear I didn't pre-plan this. I made all this, while I was shooting this video. I can just take another instrument. Like, let's go to the Europa. Let's drop that in there. What I want to do is I'm just going to take the same MIDI information that I used on the Noah bells, drag that to this track. Let's see what that sounds like. I didn't even listen to the, just pick a random patch. It's getting a little cluttered, but what I'm going to do, and this is something that you can't do with a sample, is just delete part of it. I'm going to pan them. You wouldn't even know that those two sounds are the same MIDI information just from listening to it. That's a little 2-minute beat for you, just to illustrate how flexible Reason is, especially now that they've given you these kind of MIDI things to work from. Of course, you can play stuff in yourself. If you're starting cold and you just want something to break the ice, then making a little MIDI sample is always a good way to start. And because it's Reason, if you don't like it, if you stack up a whole bunch of stuff and you find that you like how it sounds without the sample, then get rid of the sample and you have a whole nother song. Basically, through this process, I get to use Reason for inspiration just like a regular sample, and I get this energy and I get a different kind of groove maybe to bounce off of. It's almost like working with someone else, and it's flexible. I can go in, I can take parts out, I can change the tempo with no worries about whether or not the stretch is going to be too audible. And then with Reason's crazy rack, I can make it sound like almost anything. Hopefully you learned something today that you can use in your own production. If you did, please like, subscribe and sign up for notifications so you can find out when I'm coming out with new content. Also, if you have not checked out my personal website, samuelprather.com, please do so. Sign up for my email list so you can find out when I'm going to be doing shows, and you can check out my new music there also. Thanks for watching. I'm Samuel Prather. Hopefully I gave you a reason to create.